Hi everyone. In this video I wanted to recap how you create a histogram in Google Sheets, as well as just show you the descriptive statistics in the Excel Miner tool pack and how you can make a histogram in there as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remind you that when you are working with one variable stats, a lot of times we want to know how many times do things appear, and that's where this histogram really comes in handy. So Google has one built in. I'm just going to highlight these numbers here and do insert chart. Because I use it a lot, histogram shows up. If it doesn't, you can usually go to chart types and scroll down and there will be a histogram chart, and you can insert that. One of the things that at least I've been noticing, and I submitted something as far as the values here, is that mine are showing null all the time when I look at it, and it's been kind of annoying to me. The cool thing about the charts in Google is when you go into the view mode and you hover over each bar, it tells you there are 11 items between 65 and 70. What I don't know off the top of my head is whether or not they're including greater than 65 and less than or equal to 70, or the other way around. So, I could count them 1, 2, 3. Oh, and here I got to sort them first. I count them starting at 65.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it looks like it's not including 70. 70 must be in this bin. But anyway, so the other thing that I mentioned before is something called the Excel Miner Analysis Tool Pack. And you can use the Get Add-ons and type in, and it always seems like I have to type in Excel Miner as one word and install this tool pack onto Google Sheets. Then anytime you want to use it, you can just go up to Add-ons and start the Excel Miner tool pack. This is very similar to what's referred to as the Analysis tool pack in Microsoft Excel. And what I'm going to show you first of all is the descriptive statistics. Typically what you need to do is you need to highlight an area. So I already have an area highlighted, like this is what I want to use for my input. So highlight it and then click on the input range, and you'll see it uses the same notation we do when we build the formulas and functions, but there's a 1 to 26. Because my data is in a column, I leave it grouped as columns, and you'll notice that my first entry in the top row is the label. So I'm just going to click label in the first row. The second thing I'm going to do is say I want to know what the summary is right here. So I'm going to click in column C and then click on this, and it just puts in wherever my cursor was. That's what it does for the output range. So you always click what you want first and then click in the box. I really only am interested in the summary statistics, so I'm going to turn all the rest of these things off and hit OK. And you'll see right away that it gives you a lot of the things that we use quite often when we're talking about a histogram. So for example, I'm just going to highlight some of these. The cell color, the mean, the median, I suppose the standard deviation, which we talked about, and we will get into that in one of the upcoming videos on the normal distribution, as well as the minimum and maximum that I have here. So really that's a lot of the things we look at. We could benefit from understanding the standard error, and we'll talk about skewness and things and further down the line in the course. An elementary one that you probably learned all the way back in grade school is mode. It tells you what's the most common number that appears. But otherwise, here's what we have. Really, we have everything we need for the 5 column stats, for the 5 number statistics, except for the quartiles. So quartile 1 and quartile 2, in fact, I'm just going to put them down here. Quartile 1 and quartile 2 or 3 are the two things that are missing. And I'm just going to use the function, the quartile function, and get those really quickly. So I'm going to A2 to 26 for 1, and A2 to A26, comma 3. So there's my now I have really everything, and I don't know why they don't include those in the descriptive statistics, but I like having them handy when we look at it. One of the things I'll point out about hours is that the inner quartile range, if you think about it, the inner quartile range is 70, and I'll just do this, equals 70 minus 65.5. So the inner quartile range is about 4.5. So really, anything under 61 or is considered on our chart an outlier. So unfortunately, these two people are considered outliers. So I am, for right now, I'm not going to include them in when we start talking about something later. They're fine in our graph. You'll see them in here. That's these two entries. They're considered outliers, as well as if I add the 4.5 to my third quartile, this 75 is considered an outlier. So really, if I did a second histogram, only using this data in the middle, here is a better picture of this data, throwing out the outliers, at least according to the 1.5 times the inner quartile range. Oh, excuse me, I didn't do 1.5 times this, did I? So the asterisk, so it equals 1.5 times 4.5, so 6.75. So really, that keeps the 75. The 75 is still part of this, but if I subtract 6.75 from 65.5, I get 58. So yeah, these 51 and 55 still get cut off. So I'm going to insert the chart with everything except for the 51 and 55. So now we have this chart kind of dropping those two outliers. All right, I'm going to do the exact same thing, only I'm going to do it with the Excel Miner tool pack. I probably will use this a little bit more often if they don't fix that null issue, because it still has the correct labels on it. So I'm going to click on histogram. My input range, I'm going to go with just all of them again. My bin range, I'm just going to let Excel, or I'm going to let Google Sheets kind of do it on its own. There is a label, which means that first row is a label. I'm going to put my output right here. I'm going to click Chart Output. And you'll see it does its histogram and kind of decides on its own what do you want the bins to be. I'm really not a fan of doing that, letting it just decide, like, oh, because it's kind of ugly looking. I also don't like the way that the numbers are labeled. Like 51 is really on the left, so these numbers really should be in between, like 51 to 55.8. One thing that's kind of neat about this is that you can go and say, I want the labels to be 10. So I'm just going to put in 50, 60, 70, 80 in here, and change this by highlighting those and saying that's my bin range. Hit OK again. It's going to rechart my output, and you'll notice now my histogram is a little bit different. It's got from 50 to 60, from 60 to 70, and from 70 to 80. How many things are in there. Not really a fan of either of those per se, but that is kind of how the Excel Miner tool pack works with that. Preferably, the quickest way though is just do insert, chart, and then use the built-in histogram. And hopefully they fix the count for us. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. In the next video, I'm going to show and kind of recap the normal distribution, and I'm going to use the same data set for that.